Hey folks, I'm Marcel, back with you with the Pulse, and today I want to talk about passing on NMN, and not taking a pass on NMN, but actually passing it on to people you meet, people you know, friends, family, strangers, co-workers, anyone you think that could benefit from NMN. And I want to talk about that. I want to try to help give you some ideas how to do that. I'm going to talk first about why you'd want to do that, and who and how. If you're anything like me, you see a lot of people suffering, and it brings you down. I can tell you the same way that it brings me down to run into people that are suffering, that are sick, or that are unhealthy, I will say, or obese, or just struggling with various diseases and aging itself, which brings on an onslaught of things, as we've talked about here often. It brings me down. It personally brings me down. So from a selfish standpoint, I want to try to lift some people up. I get such a charge out of reading your comments. Thousands of people now taking NMN due to this channel. We know because they use the code. It's over 10,000 in the last 3 years. And the stories just invigorate me. They give me more energy. They bring me up. And it feels really good. But in that same sense, when I meet people that I think could benefit from NMN, benefit greatly, they're my age, they're older than me, sometimes they're younger than me, get a lot of young viewers, run into a lot of younger people in their 30s saying, man, it sounds good to me. I'm going to check out your channel. And I try to tell them, hey, you may not need much at your age now, but it's something to learn about, know about, and you can take on these other things, this NMN lifestyle, to help boost your NAD levels more than just the NMN in the meantime, and try to eat healthier and exercise more and do those lifestyle things, the free stuff, as Alan Graves has referred to it. So yeah, from a selfish standpoint, you're going to feel better telling people about it, and if they take it, they'll feel better, but at least you're doing something. You're not just walking around. I walk around an airport. I see people overweight. I see aged people or aging people walking very difficultly, struggling slowly. And it brings me down. I just want to shout to everybody. Of course, they're going to think I'm crazy. What I started to do is talk less about it. I'll give you a couple examples. I got quizzed at airport security now 2 times over my date of birth. They look at the date. They look for things like this, obviously, because they pointed it out. They look at me twice. They ask me what my date of birth is, my year, the year I was born, and they say, you don't look like it. And they take a double look at all my documents, and I feel like, I feel good. I'm not bragging. Maybe I am a little, but I'm not bragging in that moment because you just want to get through security. So what I do is I'll kind of tell them what I do, and I say, actually, I have a YouTube channel about trying to be younger, look younger, feel younger. I turn it into an opportunity to tell somebody else about this, who sees people all day long, gets an idea how old they are, and sees all kinds, I'm sure. And so if something stands out, something isn't normal, they comment about it. So it feels good, and I feel good walking away because I kind of turn them on to the channel. I am spending less time talking to people. Maybe it's because I've done so much talking here and I have so many videos posted here that I'm more inclined to say, hey, check out my video channel on YouTube, and maybe you'll like it. A lot of people do like the channel. Sadly, YouTube doesn't want to show the channel as much, but I still reach my core audience, and I try to build it that way. If you want to share the channel with people, by all means, share it with them, tell them about it. The easiest way to do a search for it is the Pulse NMN, because in pretty much any Google search, that's going to pop up this channel. And who knows, maybe they'll start watching and subscribe and hang around and hopefully benefit in some way. Before I forget, there is another thing you can do and tell people that are new to NMN and they're interested in getting started with a mini protocol. You can tell them about DoNotAge's starter pack. Now, what they just introduced is a small version of it, so just 1 month, which is something I asked them to do before, so it's really cool that it's finally happening, because the regular starter pack, which is now called the large starter pack, is 6 months supply, and not everybody wants to dive into a starter routine with quite that many capsules or with quite that much of an investment. So you can now get the small starter pack for $250, which is pretty cool. It has NMN, TMG, resveratrol, quercetin, sulforaboost, and Cert6 activator. These are all included in my protocol, so I take all of these myself. Now, here's a catch, and I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but you want to be advised. If you just click the usual shop link at the top of DoNotAge, I didn't see the starter pack. Maybe I'm not looking right, but I did see it under deals. So for now, at least until that changes, you want to click deals. Now in the shop section, they also have the Mindful May bundle, which is just $200 or $203, and that's NMN, spermidine, and creatine. So you can go a little bit different way and also get started. But I do recommend you try to get a Cert2 activator and TMG along with the NMN, especially when you're recommending that to other people. You want to recommend a protocol that most people are taking that take NMN. And as always, you can use my code ThePulse and save that additional 10% on these bundles as well. I don't always lead with NMN. So that's another how you could do this. Yeah, one, you could point to the channel, just have a brief conversation, tell them how you're doing. You may find this interesting, I don't know, but here it is. But another thing I do is I lead with other things, the lifestyle part of it. Could be the cold shower, could be, which is like 5 seconds of shock. You feel great after it, right? People don't want to do it because they don't want that shock. But you feel good after the shock wears down. Even in the shower, I feel good. Walking away, I feel much better when I've taken the cold shower. Whether or not there are long-term muscular benefits, as have been reported in some studies, you just feel better. You don't feel as worn down. Like a hot shower can really bring you down, can zap you of your energy when you're trying to get going. So I always finish the shower with a cold zap. I'll do a minute or two. I'll turn around. I hate it, frankly, on my back, on the upper part. That's the part that gets most of the hot water of the shower, I guess. So I hate that part. But I do it, and then I feel better. Every single time, I feel better after. It hasn't made me sick, hasn't made me suffer, other than that few seconds. So it's that little bit of sacrifice. I know it's a small thing, but it's free. It's something everybody can do, and I think you'll benefit from it. I think everyone will pretty much benefit from it. Exercise. I talk about exercise in the context of NMN. That's kind of my in oftentimes for NMN. I say, look, I'm exercising more, but I was having trouble when I tried in the past with the recovery times. So I started taking this derivative form of vitamin B, which is NMN, of course, and it helped me recover. It helped me control my appetite, my diet. So the diet would be the next part of it. And then it encouraged me to sort of have a healthier diet because I have less urges for sweets and cakes and processed foods. I still get them, but they're much more manageable now. And I do believe that both the exercise and the diet, I benefit from those things. I'm able to do those things much better thanks to NMN. So I use those things as sort of an inroad. At least people then know you're not talking about just some drug. You're not talking about something that's dangerous. You tell them about the safety studies, the things we point out here on this channel. But I would use the health part of this to sort of let people know that you're talking to, hey, I'm healthier. Like, this isn't about just looking younger. It's about how I feel. And I feel better. I feel healthier. I'm able to do more, which many of you have reported. So I would encourage you to share that. You're sharing it here. And I love that people leave that in the comments. I hope you're telling. I do hear about people saying, I turned on my wife to this. I turned on my sister or my parents. That's great. I'm trying to give you guys some more fuel because there's so many people out there. It seems like every time I go home to the States, I run into people I haven't seen in a while, and they're aging, just like all of us are aging. Heck, I'm still aging, but maybe a little bit better, certainly better than I was, and better than most. But I run into people here in Germany, and I will have the same conversation with the English speakers. The caveat there is you can select subtitles and select a different language and get pretty close in various languages the text of what I'm saying here, which is all done nicely from YouTube for the most part. So you can do that, if you're in a foreign country. And I want to make sure that I make a shout out to my foreign viewers, because about half of my viewers are outside the U.S., and not all of them are in English-speaking countries. I ran into a complete stranger named Michael, had a tennis tournament that my kids were in last winter. I mentioned this story once before, and he heard me talking, and he said, "Do you have a YouTube channel?" Because I'm talking in English to my kids. "You sound familiar. You look familiar." And I said, "Yeah, the Pulse." He goes, "I'm one of your subscribers." So there are real people out there. I don't run into many, but I did run into one right here in Germany, which was pretty surprising, especially for my kids. They just couldn't believe that someone recognized me. Another thing that I'll say about NMN, and I kind of just realized this, I finally upgraded my internet. We live in an old town here, 750-year-old town with narrow streets, and we didn't have very fast internet until recently. So I finally upgraded it, and I don't know why I had this thought. I went online, and of course everything's the same. It's just faster, but everything's the same. I always thought that, it's going to transform everything for me. It's going to run so much better. And it does. And, my kids don't complain because their videos don't pause. And my wife does training sessions on Zoom with other speech therapists. She has her own clinic, and she's a certified trainer for the Prompt Institute. So she does a lot of trainings, and her Zoom sessions, when they are jittery or slow, she gets pretty upset. So she's going to be happy then. But for the most part, you don't really notice a great deal. It becomes the new normal. You see where I'm going with this. And I said, oh my gosh, faster internet, that's a comp with taking NMN. It's not that you feel hyped up. It's certainly not an amped up feeling like coffee. You just feel healthier. It's a faster, better you. It's a new normal. Your normal goes up. And I think sometimes that's why over time people start to take it for granted and say, well, I felt really great at first, and now I feel okay, I keep taking it. I think it's because your threshold changes for what you think is normal. Kind of like the internet. You get faster internet, and after a day or two, you forget about it. It's just the new normal. And you no longer think, about it. It's just how it is. And I do think that NMN and the exercises, it's a pain, it's a pain in the butt. So it's not like everything is wonderful living this lifestyle, but the net benefits are ongoing every day, every time I lay down for bed, every time I get up in the morning, throughout the day. Rarely ever feel the need to nap anymore. And even I just went back to the U.S. I made those of you that saw them may have seen a couple videos I did at my folks in Michigan. Well, I didn't have extreme jet lag. I had like a 20-25% version of my jet lag. Didn't have to crash for long hours in the afternoon. And now I'm coming back. I'm 2 days back, and I've already played tennis twice. So I'm not feeling the same effects of jet lag. So my normal has shifted. I still feel a little slower, a little more sluggish. You may notice that a little bit. But I'm 48 hours back off the plane. And it does take a little bit of time, but it's nothing like before. Nothing like before. Before I took NMN, I dreaded travel, and I would try my best to upgrade if I could to business class so I could lay down, and it was always a big ordeal. Now I don't care. I could sleep sitting up. I'm just fine. If I get 3-4 hours sleep or 2 hours sleep on the plane, that's perfect. That's wonderful. And that's all I'll get that night. And I stay up all the way through the first day I get back. And after 3 or 4 days, I'm feeling fine. And I do attribute that to NMN because that was the moment of change. Of course, I know I have all of these other health and lifestyle improvements, and I think it extends itself. I know it extends itself to things like jet lag as well. So It's the new normal. It's not going to drug you. It's not going to bring you down. All of the safety data has been very positive on NMN, so knock on wood, keep our fingers crossed. I think for the long run, we're going to be just fine taking NMN as a supplement. I hope so. I'm 3 years on it. Matter of fact, every year got better. Every year I've taken it got better. And you could share that with people too, if that's your experience. Some of you have reported taking NMN for 5, 6, 7 years now. And so you have, and some people said the biggest changes came 3 or 4 years after taking it. So it takes time. It's not an immediate thing. A lot of people expect these immediate changes, and the biggest changes are going to take apparently the longest amount of time they have for myself and others. So it's worth sticking with it as long as you can. So don't take a pass on it. Pass it on. I appreciate you watching. I'll be back soon. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.